Now, to create a virtual environment, we first need some dedicated packages. Those packages are mostly Python, pip, and virtual environment itself. So to install these, we need to check in the operating system you're using. We need to check under which name or which package group those packages belong. So if you're using an Ubuntu or a Debian variant, then the way of searching for that is using apt cache. Then do a search, apt cache search. Then you just type the name, which is Python, or in this case, Python 3. So a lot of results came out, but as you can see here, we go up somewhere right here, we'll have a Python 3 package. Okay, let me just do that. So, so you can see there's this barebone Python 3 package. So as I said, we need Python with that, or Python 3 in this case, or with it we need pip. So let's search for pip now. So apt cache pip, apt-cache search pip, or let's search for Python pip, Python 3 pip. So see, the package for pip is Python 3 pip, and I guess venv is Python 3 venv. Yep, venv is Python 3 venv. To install all of this, we just need to type the name of the package. Give a sudo if you are using super users. Then do the apt install Python 3 Python 3 pip Python 3 venv. Now if you give your sudo's password, then as I already have installed, you might take a bit of time, but now we have the packages in our hand. So now we can continue to make the virtual environment. So when you are making a virtual environment, you have to put it somewhere, put it in a folder. There the virtual environment lies. So right now we're in the tutorials folder, but let's make another folder inside it, which is basically our project folder. Maybe say project 1. So if this is your project folder, then you might want to get inside it. Now inside the project folder, you will have your codes, like the Python files, the scripts, and other stuff, or your assets. And beside that, in the project folder, you might need your virtual environment. So to create the virtual environment, you use the following command, which is Python 3, or in some cases just Python, but I'll stick with Python 3. Then you give a -m, which stands for which module you want to use. And since virtual environment is a module of Python, so you type that venv. So it's saying that saying Python 3 to use the module venv that is installed in the Python folder, or if you go to the Python modules or site packages, it's right there. So venv is a site package of Python, and we are calling venv right now. And now you might want to give a folder name to the virtual environment folder. So it's different from the project folder. The project folder is where your code lies, and inside it there would be another folder where your environment or virtual environment lies. So to name this folder, there are certain conventions. You can name it env, you can name it venv, maybe you can call it virtual env, but I will stick with venv. So this comes to general preference. What do you prefer? But do remember, if you're using Git, do remember to ignore this folder, because that's gonna make your commits very large, and the push and pull is gonna take a lot of time, and you will be committing implementation details here, or even committing implementation garbage here, which is not the source code but binaries. So now if you press enter, see it's taking a bit of time to create the folder. So it has done something, and let's check. So now you can see you have a folder called venv, which is your virtual environment. Uh, you might want to get into the virtual environment or activate the virtual environment, but let's see what's inside it. So if you go inside the venv, you see there are certain folders. Bin is the folder where all the binaries are, include lib. These are the libraries there, and there's a configuration file. Do note that if you are using Windows, the folders are going to be a bit different. Windows use, I guess, they use scripts instead of bin. So do keep that in mind. And if you go inside bin, you find these files, which is you find the standard Python binary, a pip binary, and an activation script. So you can go on and just run this activation, though it says permission denied. This is not the standard way to do it. That's why we can go on and do a chmod, but that would be brute forcing it to activate. The better way to activate this is you go back to the project folder and you do a source. Oh, sorry for that. You do a source, and then you type in your virtual environment, which is here. Dot slash means from the current folder. Then you go to the bin and you do activate. So see here what happened is when I pressed enter, my project prompt or ps1 prompt of the terminal had this prefix added, which is venv. So this means the virtual environment is activated. Another way of making sure that the virtual environment is activated is using this command which, that gives you the location of the binary. So while activated, if you do which and if you do Python or Python 3, you see this location, which is tutorials project 1 venv bin Python 3, which is the activated location of the virtual environment. Now if you do a deactivation, okay, before that let me show it again so you can compare easily. So now if you do deactivate or deactivate the virtual environment, this is the command for deactivation, by the way, which is also in the bin folder of that venv. If you have noticed, the deactivate script was there. So now if you deactivate and now if you do a which Python 3, you can see the binary location has changed. Now it's user bin Python 3. So that is what virtual environment actually does. It gives you a separate folder for the binaries that you can edit with a version of Python you want, or keep an isolated island for all your project packages. So now you can go on and activate it again. I'm just gonna go and do it from the history. Now if you install something, for example, let us install a simple package, I guess turtles, pip install turtles. It will install it in a moment. I guess I wrote the package name wrong. Or let's install something else. Let's install NumPy. It's taking a lot of time. I guess it's something up with my firewall. Let me check it in a bit. Yep, it was my firewall, unfortunately. We have noticed I am in WSL, so the firewall here reacts a bit. So now you can see I just installed NumPy with pip. Now if I go to the virtual environment folder and if I go to the include, then Python, then okay, not probably here. I think if we go to lib, Python, and site packages, you can see that NumPy is here. Now, if you do a pip uninstall NumPy, see all these things are going to get removed. So if we do another ls, see now the NumPy is not there. So to remember that, okay, let's get back to the virtual environment folder. So to remember that when this virtual environment is activated, anything that gets installed in via the venv, the binaries would be stored in here, and any packages or any modules you install via pip while having the virtual environment activated would either be stored in lib or include or lib64. I don't know the thing. Lib64 is it a file? Can we see, or is it a folder? Oh, it's a folder. So yeah. So these three will include, I think this will include the header files for written in C, translated or implemented by Python, those kind of packages. The header files would be here, and these two would have the modules, Python specific modules, or hybrid, I guess. And this folder will have the binaries associated with those modules. So that was a short description of virtual environment. Now, if you do a deactivate, you are going to deactivate of that virtual environment. And if you see in our project folder, this is our virtual environment. Now, if you want to remove the virtual environment, you just go on and just remove the folder. So it's gonna get rid of the virtual environment, and you can make another one for yourself. That was it. That was the basics of virtual environment.